Well, good morning. And that French debate last night was sucked. It was worth the price of admission, which was $0. Thank you, CPAC, for that. I really appreciate it. It was exactly what we expected to happen, wasn't it? It was a whole love fest. I like your idea. I also like your idea. This is something I might try to do better on. Like, there is only one united thing. There is what the liberals would call zero diversity on that stage last night. There was nothing. It was brutal to watch. No diversity of thought, no diversity of action. It was just, ugh. What are we watching out here? And that's not the point of today's episode. We're going to dive into what Donald Trump announced yesterday, what that means for our country, how the liberals have responded with, what the conservatives might be doing, and the nonsense and the way this current liberal staff likes to drag us into financial and economic hardship. It makes me want to cry. Here we go. But first, what I mean, and I mean it sincerely, there was nothing to watch last night. CBC Watcher says, no debate. I want to reiterate what my opponent says. And that's exactly what happened. You missed nothing. I know some were upset because we were supposed to live stream the debate last night. And then I thought it was the English debate. Turns out it was the French debate. And I was like, yeah, I only want to do this once. I'm not doing this twice. Only because I knew what we were getting ourselves into. There was going to be no challenging, no diversity of thought. No one really trying to push the envelope. It was going to be a lot of agreeing and a lot of like, I would do this. I might do that. Oh, that Freeland had a great idea here. That's all it was going to be. There was going to be no battling. You compare this to what the conservative leadership debate was like on the multiple ones they had, where people were going at each other's throats. It was wild to watch. You didn't get that here. Not one bit. However, there was one thing that happened. It was my favorite part of the night. I've said it and I'll continue to say it. Mark Carney, 100% is the accident waiting to happen. I tell you, be patient. Be patient. He'll do it to himself. He'll do it to himself. Listen to him here. Again, this is a French language translation, but Freeland had to save his butt for saying something stupid in the French language debate. Here you go. Listen to the translation on this sucker.
I'm not proposing for one moment that we'll work with Hamas.
You'll agree on Hamas on a two-state
No, we don't agree with
solution.
Hamas. No, we're against
Yes,
Hamas,
we're against
absolutely.
Hamas. We are.
And
We're in favor of a two-state solution.
Oh my gosh. We agree with Hamas. Freeland's like, no. We'll just say it very slowly, Mark Carney. We do not agree with Hamas. We don't agree with them on this stage. No. Oh my golly, this fool, man. This fool. Unreal. I can't believe it. And this shows you why we think this party is so corrupt. The way they turfed Ruby Dollar, because she may have been a little too provocative. She might have gotten the people going. And that's exactly what would have happened. She would have been the only person who was pushing something different on that stage. You have Freeland, and in a real debate, your opponent would have allowed him to walk into that. Yeah, idiot. He just said we all agree with Hamas. I don't agree with Hamas. You might agree with Hamas. That's kind of what would have happened or should have happened. But no, of course, that's not the case here. Freeland had to save his bacon because this is all a setup to make sure Carney gets leadership. Nothing more, nothing less. And that was a gong show to watch. And before this liberal leadership race took place, do not forget what the issue is at hand. And that's massive tariffs set to hit our country. And Trump verified that they are on schedule and they will be coming.
We're on time with the tariffs, and it seems like that's moving along very rapidly. We've been mistreated very badly by many countries, not just Canada and Mexico. We've been taken advantage of. We were led by, in some cases, fools, because anybody that would sign documents like they signed, where they were able to take advantage of the American people, like has happened over the last long period of time, except for a little 4-year period that took place 4 years ago. But anybody that would agree to allow this to happen to our country should be ashamed of themselves. No, the tariffs are going forward on time, on schedule. This is an abuse that took place for many, many years. And I'm not even blaming the other countries that did this. I blame our leadership for allowing it to happen. I mean, who can blame them if they made these great deals with the United States, took advantage of the United States on on manufacturing, on just about everything. Every aspect that you could imagine they took advantage of. I look at some of these agreements, I'd read them at night, and I'd say, who would ever sign a thing like this? So the tariffs will go forward, yes, and we're going to make up a lot of territory. All we want is reciprocal. We want reciprocity. We want to have the same. So if somebody charges us, we charge them. It's very simple, but it'll be very good for our country. Our country will be extremely liquid and rich again. Plus, we're doing other things, as you know. We're finding tremendous waste, fraud, and abuse.
So there you have it. Again, he's referring to a lot of the different countries they're applying tariffs to, but made sure to call out Canada as well, that those tariffs are on time and they are incoming. And this is on the heels of what we discussed yesterday of what the Bank of Canada Governor Tiff Macklem says, saying, we can't fight both the depression and inflation. We only have one tool to deal with these issues, and it's interest rates. And we can only take on one of these issues. Which really makes you think, right? Back to when Mark Carney taking credit for the 2008 crisis and how it had next to no impact on the Canadian economy compared to our counterparts in the States. Remember when he took credit for that as the Bank of Canada governor, said, that was all me. Stephen Harper didn't do jack. It had nothing to do with policy. It was all me and my interest rates adjustments. That's all it was. It was all me, baby. We put interest rates down. Boom. Look at me. I'm the man. That's what he thinks of himself. It's a gong show to watch. And don't you forget it. This was published yesterday. Terry Newman, Carney did not protect Canadians from the 2008 financial crisis. Banking system was stable for decades thanks to historical regulations. Recently, Mark Carney sat back and failed to negate the claim that he deserved credit for having saved Canadian banks from the misadventures of our American neighbors during the 2008 financial crisis. Carney can claim no such credit. In actuality, there are historical reasons for Canada's lack of vulnerability to such financial upsets, including a divergent institutional pathway and regulatory changes recommended by Canadian Supreme Court Judge Willard Etsy that safeguarded Canada's banking system from the financial crisis. According to a 2015 paper in the Journal Economic History Review, this relative stability of Canadian banks during the 2008 economic crisis is a product of historical circumstances. According to the authors, as early as the 19th century, Canadian and American banking systems took different paths. Canada set up a strong single regulator concentrated banking system, which they say absorbed the key sources of economic risk, mortgage and investment banking, while the U.S. developed what they do refer to as a relatively weak, fragmented, and crisis-prone banking system. In contrast to Canada, what emerged in the U.S. was a lightly to unregulated banking system and ultimately many more smaller and less stable banks. This goes back in history and predates Carney. Yet he's going to get up there and lie that it was all him, that he did everything. Yet it wasn't about policies. It wasn't about frameworks and regulations that were implemented long before he arrived. It wasn't as well as the addition with the policies that Harper implemented. Nothing to do with them, no. Carney would like you to think it was him. Him adjusting interest rates is what helped us in '08. And yes, that might work on the financially illiterate crowd, but anyone who knows anything about anything knows that that is an absolute crop. It's crap. And so for them to get up there in that French language debate and just watching them agree with each other of how they're going to deal with Trump and how they're going to deal with the economic system, and just hearing Carney think and promote himself as, I am the expert. I am amazing. It really is just frustrating while to watch when you know the history and how he outright is lying and trying to fail upwards into the ranks. What I found most intriguing about last night, though, as they're debating, agreeing with each other and having some kumbaya around a circle in a red room, Donald Trump is doing Donald Trump things. Again, he announced the tariffs are going to move forward earlier in the day. Then the French language debate takes place at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And do you know what else got posted at 8 p.m. Eastern time on Truth Social? Donald Trump dropped this. And you have to know he knew exactly what he was doing. Our country's doing really well. And today I was just thinking that the company building the Keystone XL pipeline that was viciously jettisoned by the incompetent Biden administration should come back to America and get it built now. I know they were treated very badly by sleepy Joe Biden, but the Trump administration is very different. Easy approvals, almost immediate start. If not them, perhaps another pipeline company. We want the Keystone XL pipeline built. And we remember this. Keystone Pipeline's been on and off again for a long time. It first got proposed in 2008. In 2015, Obama said, bye-bye. 2017, Trump kicked it up again. 2021, that was the first thing Biden did when he got in, is he nixed it completely. So when you're trying to go back and forth on our project for the better part of 13 years, you're going to quit at that point. And this is the key part you have to remember, is the talking about the language in this post. He says that the company building the Keystone XL pipeline that was viciously jettisoned by the incompetent Biden administration. Look what he said there. I was thinking about the company that was behind Keystone Pipeline. Do you know who that company was? The company was called TransCanada. Since then, have rebranded to TC Energy. They are headquartered in Alberta. So on the heels of all the tariff talk and all the issues, we know that Trump has his eye on the oil reserves in Alberta. And he's like, we need to get that pipeline built now from Alberta right to U.S. refineries yesterday. This is all strategic on his part. This is the plan that is at hand. He obviously wants to take care of our border, which is important. But as a part of that deal, there's going to be a financial incentive on another part of this. He's going to kill two birds with one stone. He's going to get the border secured, take care of the fentanyl issues. And he's also going to strike a new deal because he knows we do not have the infrastructure built to go anywhere else. So Trump's going to become knocking on the door and saying, who's your daddy? We're going to get this pipeline built and you're going to have to deal with it. Either it's going to go from Alberta to here, or we're just going to keep it all in the United States and we're going to take those Canadian dollars to that Canadian company and it's going to be fully invested in America. What you going to do about it? Shows you how weak we really are, doesn't it? And on this, and all the issues with our leadership and lack thereof having a prime minister, and then Justin Trudeau signing a $5 billion deal with Ukraine to send supplies to Ukraine and so much more. On the heels of all that, we have our foreign minister, Melanie Joly, saying this about our American counterparts.
And we don't agree that the relationship is actually not a win-win. We think that actually the U.S. is benefiting greatly from our relationship. But at the same time, we will defend Canadian jobs. We will absolutely fight back, and we will be there to defend Canada's and Canadians' way of living, period. I must say also that the U.S. is a net exporter of fentanyl to Canada, a net exporter of illegal guns to Canada, and a net exporter of illegal migrants coming to Canada. So at the same time, while we understand that there's a real preoccupation on the part of President Trump, we are doing the work at the border for us because we know that we need to have a strong and secure border to protect our people in our country.
Hey, Melanie Joly. Shut up. Not helpful. We're not enjoying this. To go out and say, well, actually, the real issue on the border is the foreign guns that are coming from the States up here, the fentanyl that's actually coming from their country to here, the flow of undocumented migrants from their country to here. That's the real issue. Shut up. Even if that were true, which some of it is in terms of the weapons, that the illegal guns that do come from the States, that is true. That happens in crazy numbers. When they hold all the cards, we need to shut up. But instead of go out there and saying, well, yeah, well, it's actually their fault. They're idiots. They're not a reliable partner. Bum, 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 bum. Not helpful. Don't enjoy it. Don't want that. And it just makes you wonder, it just feels like a sabotage at times. When they're just going out and doing stupid stuff like this. We have no PM. Then you have these jabronis sitting on the French language stage in Montreal saying, Trump this, Trump that. I'm going to do this to Trump. I'm not even going to talk to Trump. I'm going to just send a delegation and tell him what's up. I'm going to little bro him. This party is hopeless. Get them out of power. It's done. They're cooked. It's over. Trump has us. We all know it. And this whole feigning of power and feigning of strength is not helping anybody. We need to be real with what's actually happening, be real what's going on. And this is why I'm enjoying at least that piece of Poilievre's messaging, where he says, yeah, the way we've dealt with infrastructure in our country makes us look like morons. And the liberals will turn around saying, well, Poilievre's all negative all the time, blah, 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 blah. He's just pointing out the issue and how he would want to fix it and how it needs to be adjusted so this doesn't happen again. But do you know what the liberals will do? They're going to sit on a stage and rub each other's booty holes, talk about nothing, and debate who supports Hamas more. That's what you'll get. That's what you will see. So that's why we'll continue to put the pressure on these jabronis. We will wait for this leadership election to take place, and then hopefully that March 10th comes around, or somewhere mid-March, that general election gets called, and we can send these jabronis packing. Anyways, have yourselves a good one. I'm out.